Well, good morning. My name is Doug Poland, and I'm a partner at the law firm of Stafford Rosenbaum and chair of the DMI Board of Directors. Thank you for joining us for our virtual October What's Up Downtown breakfast. For this morning's event, we are thrilled to welcome Dr. Jack Daniels, President of Madison College, Dr. Tim Casper, Vice President of Institutional Learning and Effectiveness at Madison College and DMI board member, and Maggie Porter-Kratz, Senior Director of Philanthropy at Madison College, to talk about the college and its role in our community and how you can support it. Before we hear from our speakers, I want to encourage everyone to register for DMI's 2020 State of the Downtown, taking place virtually next Thursday, October 29th from 7:30 to 9 a.m. The event will include the release of the 10th Annual State of the Downtown Metrics Report and a panel discussion featuring Dr. Ruben Anthony from the Urban League of Greater Madison, Brenda Gonzalez from UW-Madison, Tiffany Kenny from Madison's Central Bid, Diane Morgenthaler from Destination Madison, and Matt Wachter from the City of Madison. We'll also be using a dynamic virtual platform for the event called Remo, where attendees will be able to meet and connect with each other prior to the program. DMI used the Remo platform for last month's annual dinner with great success and to tremendously positive feedback from those who attended. Clearly, we were all tired of using the same Zoom platform for meetings, and Remo provides an opportunity for true real-time interaction among large groups. Thanks to all of you who attended our annual dinner last month, and thank you for your glowing reviews of the event as well. On behalf of the DMI board, I want to thank DMI's staff, Jason Ilstrup, John Chernelia, Carol Ann Hewitt, and Madeline Plummer for their creativity, ingenuity, and resourcefulness in planning the annual dinner, which because of the pandemic could not be held as it had been in the past, but which they successfully reimagined. The DMI staff also has done a remarkable job of continuing to provide meaningful events and opportunities for DMI members to connect and carry out the work of DMI, despite the limitations of our current circumstances. I urge each of you to visit the DMI website, downtownmadison.org, and click on the calendar tab to see all of the coming events and opportunities for engagement. You can also find more information about next week's State of the Downtown program and register for the program on DMI's website. Next, I would like to thank all of our sponsors of today's event. Thank you to major series sponsor Wipfli LLP, supporting series sponsors Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, Michael Best and Friedrich, and State Bank of Cross Plains, and special contributors the Edgewater Hotel and UW Health, Unity Point Health Meritor, and Quartz for their support of DMI and downtown Madison. It's now my pleasure to welcome Anita Mohammed, representing our major sponsor, Wipfli LLP, to briefly say a few words. Anita will be followed by DMI President Jason Ilstrup to introduce this morning's speakers. Thank you, and welcome, Anita.
Good morning. My name is Anita Mohammed, and I'm a partner with Wipfli LLP and member of the DMI Board of Directors. Wipfli is pleased to participate as the major sponsor of the DMI What's Up Downtown Breakfast Series. Thank you for joining us this morning. As a multidisciplinary professional services firm, Wipfli delivers effective, personalized services to help companies and organizations like yours through these trying times to help create lasting positive impact. We are here to help leaders like you navigate the ever-changing economic environment, and we invite you to visit wipfli.com for industry-specific insights for financial institutions, construction and real estate, nonprofits, and more. Thank you for joining today's program, and I hope you are all safe and well.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Ilstrup, the president of Downtown Madison Inc., and welcome to yet another virtual What's Up Downtown breakfast. A huge thank you to Doug for those kind words. Thank you to all of our members who joined us at the last wonderful annual meeting we had a few months ago, and a thank you to Anita from Wipfli and all the team that support us. Thank you, Anita, so much. Also, thank you to Anita, who just became the treasurer of DMI. So we're very excited for that great partnership. Today, we have a very important conversation with one of the great economic development drivers of our community, Madison College. We are so lucky to have several of their key members to discuss what is happening in the college, their role in the community, and how we, as a business organization, nonprofit, and downtown organization, can support them. This is something we need to do now more than ever. So we're very excited about the conversation with all of the team at Madison College. We've got three great speakers today. First, we have Dr. Jack Daniels, who's the president of Madison College. He has led the reshaping of the college and responding to unique community needs and guiding the transformation of an institutional culture that practices and supports equity and inclusion. Dr. Daniels led a successful campaign to establish the Goodman South Campus, how amazing it is, on Madison's South Side, that includes the creation of the Early College STEM Academy, a partnership with the Madison Metropolitan School District. The Academy facilitates learning for 200 high school seniors in juniors and seniors, both, in a full immersion STEM dual credit program, leading to college degree at the same time students are earning their high school diploma. Dr. Daniels continues to advance the college leadership model that empowers individuals to lead within the scope of their influence. Dr. Daniels has a doctorate degree in psychology from the Wright Institute in Berkeley, California, and is entering his 8th year as president of Madison College. We're going to hear from Dr. Daniels in a few minutes. It's great to have Dr. Daniels here today. We also have Maggie Porter-Kratz, who is a senior director of philanthropy at the Madison College Foundation, where she served for nearly 2 years. Maggie, I'm so used to saying Madison. Maggie is working to increase awareness of the foundation's work and to translate it into transformational gifts that will strengthen students' access to education for years to come, while fulfilling the individual's philanthropic priorities. Prior to Madison College, Maggie has worked to support nonprofits that increase access to education and housing and promote racial justice in Wisconsin and Detroit. We're very excited to have Maggie, who will come on in a little bit. We're going to start off with our own board member, who I notice in his bio doesn't list that he's a DMI board member, so we'll have to right that ship, Dr. Casper. We've got Dr. Tim Casper, who's the Executive Vice President of Student Affairs and Institutional Effectiveness at Madison Area Technical College. He's been with the college for almost 10 years, since 2011. Presently, Dr. Casper is leading the college-wide effort to improve student support success via transformation advising experiences that places students at the center of engagement with faculty and staff. During 2017, Dr. Casper led community engagement efforts related to the programmatic and facility needs for a new South Madison campus. Working with fellow executives in spring 2020, he coordinated efforts to transition and support students and employees while learning and teaching remotely. Certainly no easy task. We're going to start off with Dr. Casper. How are you today, Dr. Casper?
I'm doing, hang on one second.
We can hear you loud and clear. You're on.
Thank you. Well, I'm doing very well, and we greatly appreciate, Jason, the opportunity to be with all of you here this morning at DMI for the What's Up Breakfast. As Jason said, I'm currently a member of the board. Madison College has had board members going back at least 15, 16 years, including a stint as chair of the board by Ed Clark, a former member of our faculty and an administrator at Madison College. So we're excited about this opportunity this morning to speak to you about what Madison College is doing to engage our students and our community in this challenging time. As we've talked about in different DMI meetings that we've had as an organization, we know we're confronting the health conditions of the pandemic. We know we're confronting the issues of racial injustice and seeking to build a more inclusive and equitable downtown space. And we at Madison College are on a similar journey as we continue to make our institution more inclusive and equitable and to support more students, regardless of where they come from, with their success as individuals. We know that that'll help transform them and their communities that they live in, whether it's the downtown Madison area, broader Dane County, or the 10 other counties in south central Wisconsin that Madison College serves. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Daniels, and I'll be bringing up a presentation that we'll cover with you this morning. And then you'll hear from Maggie Porter-Kratz about some exciting opportunities for how your organization can support our students. So is that up and viewable for everybody?
We see it great. We see it great. And before Dr. Daniels begins, I want to make sure to announce we do have time for question and answer at the end after the presentation. So if you have questions, send them in now through the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Dr. Daniels, how are you this morning?
Jason, good morning, and thank you to you, Doug, and DMI. This is a great opportunity to revisit. I know we were here some time ago, but this is good as we'll have the ability to discuss many things that are happening at the college and our connection and engagement with the business community. Just as a quick review, I want to talk somewhat about our mission, vision, and values. Our mission basically is to open access to quality higher education. And that higher education is just not for individuals who are transferring on to a four-year institution, but it's also our base workforce that requires less than a baccalaureate degree, which over 80% of our jobs, that's where we find the need for our training. And our vision is about that affordable education. And I want to outline a couple of phrases here. Number one is affordable, but look at the evolving needs of our diverse communities. When we sat down in 2014 and we recommitted ourselves to this vision, we knew at that point in time that we were seeing a change in our community. And we know we had to focus on equity and inclusion. And the board was very supportive of looking at our diverse communities at that point. So this is just not something that happened in the last 4 months. We have always been committed to our diverse communities in all the 11 counties in which we serve. And as you look at the values, you'll see the same. The commitment to our diverse communities, making higher education available to all. And it's so important about the respect and excellence, as we've learned over the last few months, about the respect and the necessity to respect every member within our community. But fall semester, and I want to really paint what has happened since March 15th of this year. Because in March 15th is when we closed our doors to the public, not to our classes, because we had remote classes happening at the start of the pandemic in Madison. And we had a fairly successful summer. We were about 1% up over the previous summer. And fall brought many different types of challenges. When we think about our course offerings, 70% of our course offerings are fully remote at this particular time. About 25% of our course offerings are hybrid. So that's a combination of in-class, in person, and remote. About 5% of our classes are actually face-to-face. Those classes are in our Human and Protective Services, which includes our Police Academy, our Fire Academy, Emergency Medical Technician, EMT, but it's also in our health area. And those are huge areas from which we know we need to have that type of instruction being provided to our students so that they can be successful, especially as first responders in this pandemic. Our enrollment, much like many two-year institutions across the country, is down. Average across the country is somewhere around 11%. We are about 9% down in enrollment for the fall. And that is also in line with our sister colleges, technical colleges within the state of Wisconsin. We have done a great deal in trying to get that word out that we are still having these classes, our courses, our programs. But we know through the pandemic, there are going to be many individuals who are going to be a little bit anxious about what's next. And I think also because we serve a number of adults who have children, for example, in MMSD, they now have an additional workload, if you will, at home because they are actually homeschooling and working with MMSD through their remote instruction. And many parents are relearning what they had learned many years ago as they work with their students. And that's an additional stressor. And I don't want to minimize that because it is very important to understand what is actually happening within the total community and how the pandemic has impacted that. One of the key elements that we actually focused in on was digital equity in our environment, especially for folks of color, folks who are in poverty, because oftentimes they don't have the devices to access a remote environment. We provided devices, laptops, hotspots, so that they actually can access. We also took some of our, what we call CARES money. That's the federal dollars that came to us as a result of the first stimulus package and the second stimulus package. And what we did was to provide for those folks affected by the pandemic, COVID, laptops and hotspots. And we spent a great deal of that CARES money as it related to that. In addition to using CARES money to help students who were affected by the pandemic to be able to complete their programs. And so we have been working a great deal in how we're going to minimize that gap as we talk about the equity in digital. But it also has to be stated that many students, especially students of color, have not had that experience and comfortability in a remote environment. They are very much tuned to a face-to-face presence, having that face-to-face relationship and engagement with that faculty member. And so we have to provide other resources and support from that remote environment so that their comfortability increases. Because if their comfortability can increase, the potential for them to be successful and complete their programs will go up tremendously. And so one of the things that we're doing, we're providing what we would call a TA or a teaching assistant who will be in a lab situation. So when students can come to one of our campuses who are enrolled in class, who have that difficulty, who need that comfortability, who need the support, and they can get it there. So that when they're returning home, they're able to have more comfortability with the accessibility, but also the engagement with faculty through the remote environment. And as I said earlier, equity and inclusion is something we've been concerned with for over many, many years. But what we're looking at now is how, in fact, we're going to sustain our equity and inclusion. And that is just not for students, it's for employees, it's also our engagement with the community. It's important for us to have an environment that is anti-racist. It's important for us to have an environment where everyone is respected fully and we are addressing their educational needs, and then many times we're also addressing social needs. We know that from the pandemic, there are the mental health issues that have come up. And many of those mental health issues are those folks who are trying to juggle 4 or 5 different things at the same time, be it housing, be it working with their children, be it food. I mean, there's numbers of things. And we find a lot of that with communities that are in poverty. And part of what we're trying to do is to ease some of those transitions. When we think about equity and inclusion, it will permeate throughout the institution. And to do that, we have 6 schools within our college. Each college will have an equity and inclusion plan that will then be a part of and aligned with the college's equity and inclusion plan, as well as a strategic plan. And having proactive activities and initiatives that we can follow, we can assess, we can look at what is happening from a positive standpoint, as well as what is not working, and make some interventions with that. Our board in July passed a resolution denouncing racism. They are very supportive of how we're moving forward. And this is an effort not just from one office, not from the president's office, but throughout the entire college. And I believe that this focus will be sustained over time, and it becomes a part of our culture. Part of that, as you know, George Floyd's murder within Minneapolis, we actually established a George Floyd Scholarship. But that scholarship is for adults and for African-American adults who want to continue their education so that they can also get a family living wage. And I think that's very important. And I'm sure that Maggie's going to talk about some of our other scholarship opportunities, especially like our Scholars of Promise, which continues to move forward in itself. The spring semester is going to closely mirror the fall semester, especially as we talk about the academics, we talk about student services in our remote environment as we're providing services, counseling, advising, financial aid to students. So it will look very much like the fall semester. In fact, if I'm right, and Tim can correct me on this, registration has begun for spring semester. And so students right now can enroll for the spring semester. One of the hallmarks that we have is the ability to pivot when we need to. So we know we see a spike now. There's an expected spike probably in January. Our planning has allowed us to be able to pivot when necessary. And the last thing I would like to add, wherever I am, I need to give a quote unquote shout out to our faculty, to our support, to our staff, because they have been tremendously supportive and engaging in this entire process. And we know that happened before March of this year, but it really has been amplified since March. And we could not be in the position we are without that huge support from all employees at Madison College. So with that, I think it's my time to turn it either back to Tim or I'm going to turn it to Maggie.
Maggie?
Well, good morning. I'm thrilled to be here as well. Thank you for having us. I'm a proud downtown resident, so happy to supporting What's Up Downtown. If you hear construction, it's good the work going on in Gorham right by us. So, as you know, I work at the Madison College Foundation, and our vision is to support the great work of Madison College and to make sure that no student is denied education due to financial barriers. Our primary mission is really to provide pathways for students. So our work is really focused on direct student support. Tim, can you go to the next slide? I'm going to talk to you today about the two main things we do, scholarships and emergency grants. And then, as Dr. Daniels has already touched on, really digging down a little bit in our Scholars of Promise program and talking about the George Floyd Memorial Scholarship a little bit. We have found that scholarships and emergency grants are some of the biggest ways to make sure that students are able to both pursue education and then stay at Madison College once they are here. The students that Madison College serves, many of them already were facing financial barriers before the pandemic hit. And we've seen those needs significantly grow during COVID. In fact, for fall 2020, we had double the requests for scholarships. Madison College Foundation typically gives out about $1.5 million in scholarships every year. We also give out, we give those out in the fall and the spring. Those scholarships, supplement tuition. Now at Madison College, tuition is relatively affordable compared to other institutions. However, we've still found that for many students that's a barrier. So scholarships are one of the biggest ways that we have seen students able to achieve. One of the joys of my job is getting to read scholarship applications and then scholarship thank yous. And I wanted to share a quote from you from just a fall 2020 student that just was awarded a scholarship. She shared about some of her background, how she's the first in her family to pursue higher education, and she's had a couple up and down, so she's coming back to college, like many of our students. And she shared that in her thank you, she said, "I will be the inspirations for generations after me." I think that just is very telling of our students. They're here to change their lives, to work on pursuing a career that will have a family living wage, and to make sure that they, their children and their children after them are able to do that. Students apply for scholarships through a centralized scholarship process. So we're really working to make sure that there are as few barriers as possible. Many of our scholarships are named funds. So we have a general scholarship pool that is awarded to students who have the most need based on the actual applicant pool. That's our Smart Future scholarships. So every semester we can really make sure that the students who apply, who really have the highest barriers, are given a scholarship. And then we also have named funds. And that's where people in the community really come together with us to say that they'd like to support students, they'd like to craft their philanthropy in a way to have an impact that supports either a specific population or sometimes, again, students with the greatest need. We also really work with companies and with individuals to talk about whether they're looking to have an impact that lasts into what we call perpetuity. If they're looking to have an impact on students into the future, or to have a larger impact now. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then I wanted to quickly talk about emergency grants as well. For many students, they face a one-time expense that can really be the difference between them staying in school or not staying in school. A lot of times we've seen that students have a car that breaks down, or a childcare expense, and a situation with their housing or rent, or many of our students face food insecurity. Emergency grants are a one-time opportunity for students to apply for funding that will meet that need. These grants are given quickly and directly to address those needs. As Dr. Daniels talked about, some of the CARES funding too went towards emergency grants for students. And in fact, since March, between the CARES funding and private grants, we've given over 3,000 grants to students. I just think that number is remarkable. That's such a large number of students who are now able to stay in school because of that. I want to talk too about our Scholars of Promise program. Scholars of Promise is a program for students who otherwise would not be able to go to college. It's a program for students who are right out of high school, who have financial needs, and the program provides tuition assistance here at Madison College for up to 6 consecutive semesters. It's a program that's surrounded with support services, and students have a mentor, and they're required to become a mentor. They have some volunteer opportunities, but what we've seen is these students really have with the support services are thriving. The students who come to it are, as I said, they're students who have significant financial needs. Many of them are the first in their family to attend school. Many are studying in our liberal arts transfer program. It's a program that is very accessible, and it's one that the community is helping us recruit for. In fact, my kids go to daycare here downtown as well, and one of their friends' moms works at East High School in a nonprofit, and one of her roles is to recruit students into Scholars of Promise. So it's been fun to talk to her a little bit more about, as I work to raise funds for the program, she works to make sure that students are connected and students right here are connected. One of the most amazing parts about it is that if students meet certain criteria, they're automatically accepted into UW-Madison. And UW-Madison covers up to 4 semesters of their tuition. That means that this program is a pathway where students can earn their bachelor's degree with tuition covered. This program is one that provides equity in our community and provides a pathway for students to change their lives. We're just getting some of the stories from students who are hearing about their experiences as where we just started the 4th cohort, so students are just starting to transfer to UW. We're starting to learn about what that's like for them. Of course, students don't also have to transfer to a higher education institution. About 25% are in our pursuing the trades. They're looking to leave Madison College and start a job to support themselves right away. So it's a program that has a lot of avenues. It's also one that we're really focusing on fundraising for, as we see each cohort's about 150 students. So as we look into the future, that's one where we are really asking the community to join with us, to see the potential of these young people, see the opportunity for them to study, to have support services that help. As I said, many are first generation, so we have financial advisors, we have academic advisors that are really focused on them specifically. So that program is one that we continue to see growth for here at Madison College. And then I wanted to just quickly talk about the George Floyd Memorial. Dr. Daniels has already covered this, but we started this scholarship. Dr. Daniels gave the inaugural gift that launched the scholarship, and we invited the community to join with us, and we saw an outpouring of support. In fact, another Madison College alum contacted us and asked if he could start an endowed fund to supplement it. So we have a non-endowed scholarship that's giving immediate gifts, and an endowed scholarship to make sure that this important scholarship continues into perpetuity. And they also, the alum offered as a matching gift, and he encouraged his community, and we asked the Madison College community to join with us. So that scholarship, the first award was in fall 2020, and we will be making an award every semester. it's a scholarship that we are still recruiting funds for, and there's still matching gifts available if people are interested in doing that. So you're probably wondering how you can help. First of all gifts make a difference. At Madison College, our typical scholarships can range from $500 to $1,000. So with a relatively small amount, you can literally change a life. It's really an opportunity to invest in our community at all levels. If you're looking, people give gifts to existing funds. Some people are really interested in our Smart Future Fund that provides, as I said, scholarships to the students with the most needs. Or some people really have a heart for emergency grants. They have witnessed how one catastrophic event can really derail someone, and they want to be that change, that immediate help. Our Scholars of Promise program, again, is really impacting the community right now. And our George Floyd Memorial Scholarship, as I said, it has a matching opportunity right now, and 2 funds that support it. We also have a lot of other funds if you're looking to support, say nursing students or students in the trades or our liberal arts transfer program. There's a lot of things. The other opportunity is to establish named funds. This is probably the most fun part of my job. I get to work with people who are looking to invest in students for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people want to invest in, like I work with some companies that want to support the trades, like Speedway Gravel, who's digging up the road right by me, has a scholarship that supports students who are studying civil engineering. And so they're looking really to invest in that. And then some donors want to start a fund that honors a parent who was the inspiration for them, who laid the groundwork, or a parent who never could attend college. And some donors really want to they see the work that Madison College is doing. And as Dr. Daniel said, they really see that this work based on equity, based on racial justice, is not something that we have just started. This is work that has been going on. It's in the fiber of our whole community, and they want to be part of that. They see this as an opportunity to really invest in that work in our community. So named funds can be established at relatively low thresholds. Non-endowed funds can be established with a gift of $5,000, endowed funds with a gift of or pledge of up to $20,000. Yep. Once you establish a fund, you actually get profiles from the students you have helped. It's a very personal process. Unlike giving to, I'm in philanthropy, so I believe all giving is great. But I will say at Madison College, you get to know the students you're helping, you get to hear about their journey. You get invited to a scholarship breakfast when it's not the pandemic. So you actually get the opportunity to meet the students who you've helped, or other students who've been helped with gifts like yours. It's an opportunity to really see that your giving is making a difference right here, and specifically for individuals. That's it. As you can see, a lot of people are excited to give because they know that our graduates stay in Wisconsin, they work in Wisconsin. Our graduates have a great employment rate, and many of our students transfer to UW-Madison. Our program is a great pathway, both for students looking to go on to that bachelor's degree or students looking to jump right in the trades. So I'm happy to talk about the ways to get involved and talk through ideas. There's a lot of opportunity to be creative when you're giving to Madison College.
Maggie and Dr. Daniels and Dr. Casper, thank you very much for a very important presentation. Maggie said it right. We have to support such an amazing institution in Madison. This is about economic development. It's about diversity, equity, inclusion. It's about so many things. And Madison College is doing an amazing job. So please, if you can, Maggie and the team. First question we want to ask, I think, goes back to your mission and your vision statement. Some things that Dr. Daniels brought up. That it's about open access. It's about affordability. But what really struck me is it's about the changing needs of a diverse community. And of any time in my life, I'm 43, about to turn 44. I don't know why I'm letting everyone know my age, but there you go. I've rarely seen as much change as we have right now. From COVID-19, a recession that we're entering, the powerful social justice movement. Why is Madison College in such a great position to continue to help our economy, to continue to help our residents now more than ever? Why is it so important now?
I am unmuted, right?
Good. We can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. You know, when you look at Madison College historically and its value to this community, we have thousands over thousands where we have trained and those folks are actually working in our community. You know, it's something when you can go into a health provider, just say UW Health right now, and the person who is checking you in is a Madison College graduate. You then go into the person who is providing you your blood pressure and checking out your weight and your height, the Madison College graduate. You've got the medical assistant who's coming through as a Madison College graduate. You can go into any industry and you'll find that, and it's important for us to maintain that. But we also know that there are demand areas from which we have limited supply. Hence, even before the pandemic and even during the pandemic, the necessity to hire qualified individuals to meet some of those job needs and those gaps that many of our industry folks have. We have a huge population that needs that type of training. Many of those folks are folks of color, folks in poverty. We can actually provide those trainings to those individuals. And because of our connection with the business community, we can have those linkages where those folks are getting employed gainfully and with family living wages. That's an impact that we would have. But we also know in our community, there is a huge need in entrepreneurship. We have many individuals who are thinking about starting their business and many who want to scale their business. And so we have a very good entrepreneur center that provides workshops and seminars and classes and courses so that individuals can not just learn how to do or how to start that business, but also what can they do to enhance that business. And that's from the business plan all the way to getting capital. And that's huge. Our work with the Latino Chamber, with the African American Chamber, with the General Chamber of Madison is important for us to maintain those connections and to grow those businesses where, you know, in areas where that growth has been stymied for so long is an effort that we're looking for and positioning ourselves to do. And I think the last thing when you think about Madison College partners throughout the community. We see ourselves as a partner, and our engagement is as a partner. So the needs that many businesses have, we try based on where they say their needs are, is to meet some of those issues and some of those training needs that they have. We have a very good portion of our college in corporate training who provides that type of training that's going across not just small business, but for our large corporate offices here in Madison as well. So our engagement, our connection for 110 years, and our effort is to actually scale that even more.
You know, thank you for that answer, Dr. Daniels. Someone who's a proud partner of Madison College for years. You know, he speaks the truth. You're absolutely right. You work directly with us as partners, and we are so thankful as the business and nonprofit community for that leadership. One of the things we're seeing in particularly with COVID-19 and the struggling economy right now is that many people are out of jobs, right? And in fact, what that's doing is maybe saying, okay, what am I going to do with my life? How am I going to move forward? And I think one of the key points that Dr. Daniels brought up at the end was entrepreneurship. And we're hearing from our partners at the Small Business Development Center at UW, or through the great partnership we have with Dr. Ramon Ortiz, who a huge shout out to Dr. Ortiz, who's been doing great work with the downtown group to try to look at both the short and long-term goals for downtown to make it both vibrant and equitable. So you guys are doing that work, but how important is it for you guys in the positions you already have as a very strong institution with great online learning platforms and ability to get information to those entrepreneurs? How can you work with people that are maybe struggling right now to find new things to work and create an even more robust, innovative economy in Madison?
When you think about, and I'm going to use South Madison to talk about this. When you think about business development, we have witnessed business development pre-COVID, and even somewhat now, in the East Wash corridor, I'll call it the corridor. For years, there has been that dearth within the South Madison corridor. One of the reasons that Madison College elected to choose that site of Goodman South Campus was to be in the community so that we could assist in impacting that community and impacting economic development. Because if you can impact economic development, there's also the impact on community development and the quality of life in communities. And so as we took that stance and built Goodman South Campus, our huge agenda was how do we, with our partners around us, create a corridor that is full of business development and economic development. Our relationship with the Urban League, our relationship with the many CBOs, Central Hispano, the Literacy Network, Catholic Charities, our relationship up and down Park Street is going to be important as we start to craft what does that business community look like. I've had conversations with Dr. Anthony because he has received some funding from the county that allows him to develop that business development plan for the South. And because of we are a training entity, we are a entrepreneur facilitating entity. We're an entity for education to really come in through us. We want to partner. We want to be a part of that development in South Madison because I believe very strongly it can be hugely important. As I've mentioned in the past, if we can actually attract and create businesses that folks are actually moving toward, they're going to be buying product in the community. And that helps economic development. I think the other side of this is just not to focus on it. Oftentimes we focus on the service industry. And you'll find that many entrepreneurs are focusing in on services. But I think part of this movement now talks about suppliers. We have the health corridor. That health corridor really is in the ballpark of South Madison. And when you think about from where we are all the way up to UW, all of the health providers in those areas, what are the supplying needs that they need? And can we get entrepreneurs focused in on those elements as well in addition to the service elements. And I think that would be a huge boon for the development of economic development within the corridor. We want to be a partner in that. And we think that we can provide some of those trainings, albeit it's not always about, I'm going to school for a semester for 16 weeks. Short term, we have badge programs so that people get the competencies so they immediately can move into their goal and their objective.
I think that's so, it's amazing to see what institution already this Goodman South campus has become on the Park Street corridor, and all of the work that you're talking about with, our member of our board of directors, Dr. Ruben Anthony, and the Urban League, and the great work that they're doing modeling a center after the Sherman Phoenix Center in Milwaukee, the powerful work of Reverend and Dr. G and the Center for Black Excellence, just literally across the street from the Goodman South campus, the work that SSM is doing and the work that they did with Alder Sherry Carter and Alder Tag Evers in that area. There's just so much happening, and to know you have an institution like that there is so important. A follow-up question to that is, and I think something that Dr. Casper has told me several times, but I really want to make sure we get out to the community. What are the metrics of success so far at the Goodman South campus? Because it's been amazing to me how many people, new students are going, how many students are going in the zip codes that are closest to the facility. To me, that tells a real story. So Dr. Daniels or Dr. Casper, what successes have you already seen at the Goodman South campus?
How long do we have today? No.
Honestly, for this subject, as long as you want, because this is the work. This is the powerful stuff. So we'll go on all day. I've got a meeting at 10. We might lose some people, but.
Yeah, no, when we think about the zip codes, and Tim can amplify this as well, I believe we're in the mid to upper 60% of students who are attending GSC, Goodman South Campus, are from the local zip codes, and we've identified those. That was part of our need analysis, to understand who is in those codes, who would need training, and how we can better serve that need. So that's huge. When we opened Goodman South Campus a year ago, our intent was about 1,000 students. And that first term, we enrolled over 2,100 students. And part of that number are students who are with the Early College STEM Academy. And we are serving 200 juniors and seniors from the comprehensive high schools in Madison. And there's a process that they go through. But after the first year, taking college level courses, the average GPA was roughly 3.5 for all those students. And then when you start to look at that cohort as they're moving forward, they've maintained that. That first group of folk who have come through, because they started 1 year prior to Goodman South Campus opening, because we took 25 students roughly that were going to the STEM Academy, but we were doing it at Truax. Those students, when they completed, I think that close to 100% went on to the next level of education. But what is more important, that we had, I think it's a 10 or 11, it might be low on these numbers, students who graduated from high school with their diploma also graduated with an AS degree. That's huge, because those students now enter into that four-year institution with junior status. And that's also a huge boon for parents, because they're not paying that four-year cost any longer. They're paying a two-year cost. And as Maggie talked about the Scholars of Promise, if those students were somehow connected with the Scholars of Promise, we can also talk about how can you get that baccalaureate at the most affordable cost, which is no tuition fee. So that's huge. And that's part of what we're doing. But there's another part about Goodman South Campus. Because Goodman South Campus was designed to be a community, the community's college. So we, pre-COVID, had many organizations who were having their meetings there. They were coming in to see the campus and became advocates immediately and part of our ambassadors out into the community say, you need to come. I'll never forget the first couple of weeks when you see students are coming from the neighborhoods into the college campus. That impact is huge. And as we, transmit and transition from where we will be in COVID to post-COVID, we see that return happening. And so there's many things about the campus that engages the community, which I think is just wonderful for providing not just access, but the ability to engage with each other so that we're stronger.
I mean, absolutely. The power of it already is so impressive. One quick way, I have about 1 minute left for the last question here. They say, thank you for the great talk. The family member attending Madison College this fall and have been very impressed with the quality teaching staff. I want to make sure to get that out there. How are you guys continuing to attract top quality teaching professionals?
That's always a challenge, but it's a good challenge because for every position that we have, we've got numbers of individuals trying to apply for those positions, not just staff, but faculty. And we have a commitment to focus in on faculty coming to us who represent the student body. And I'm talking about equity and inclusion, bringing more faculty of color in. We serve roughly 29–30% of our student body are students of color. Our aspirational goal is to have 29–30% minimum of faculty of color, because we know from research that the connections that happen between the student and the faculty member, if they actually seeing folks who look like them, can be role models of them, the likelihood for retention, persistence, completion, and success just goes skyrocket. So we're in a good position. And I think people recognize what we do and what we provide for our faculty. Because even in this era of COVID and going to remote learning, faculty had to be trained. They have to be continually trained, especially if they just taught on face-to-face and now moving to a remote environment. And we take pains in working with our faculty development so that they can be as engaging and as strong in the classroom.
Well, we cannot thank everyone from Madison College enough. And before we go, it was not lost on me that in the middle of Dr. Daniels' answering of the questions, literally the sun came shining on him. You probably can't see us, but I think that's a sign that we need to continue and to support even more Madison College during this difficult time when there are so many tough things happening for so many people. To have institutions of over 100 years like Madison College putting their roots down here and making sure that our economy works well, making sure that our people are safe, they're training the EMTs, the nurses. This is such an important part of our entire ecosystem in Madison. So the light is certainly shining on Dr. Daniels. The light is certainly shining. See, it's back on him right now. Oh, you can't see it, I can. It is shining on him literally, and I hope that you guys can take the time to contact Maggie and to support all of our friends at Madison College. So a huge thank you to Dr. Daniels, to Dr. Casper, to Maggie for the talk this morning on the importance of Madison College and the community. Such an important institution for our whole community. You guys are tremendous. We cannot thank you enough for your tremendous support of DMI as well. We'd also like to thank our great sponsors, Anita and the team at Wipfli, to Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison. Thank you, Missy Tracy and Dan Brown. You guys are the best. To Michael, Aston, Friedrich, Kevin, and Amy and the team, thank you. State Bank of Cross Plains, literally your whole organization are part of DMI, so thank you. The Edgewater Hotel and Amy Supple and the team there. UW Health, Unity Point, Health Meritor Courts, and Julie Alec and the team. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you guys all being here today. We hope you can join us a week from tomorrow on the 29th, 7:30 a.m. for for our very important State of the Downtown. We've got the report coming out. We've got Remo, so you can meet your friends again in a virtual and safe environment. We've got Diane Morgenthaler, Tiffany Kinney, Brenda Gonzalez, Dr. Ruben Anthony, and Matt Wachter from the city, all as our panelists. Hope you can join us again the 29th at 7:30. Thank you, Dr. Daniels. Thank you, Dr. Casper. And thank you, Maggie. Let's support Madison College now more than ever. Thank you. Have a great day and stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.